Round 4. Tea is good.
Tea is
Can't call me.
excellent.
Yeah. Scavenger, so my first instinct is to look for scavenger spots when I see chems.
As always, click on the high carbons, see what's at.
There is a
there's
scavenger.
This, yeah, water's a bit awkward if you want to go anywhere else.
HQ has been founded. A robotics HQ
Yeah, that's that would be my priority found probably. I think this is perfectly fine. I'd prefer to find a little bit closer to carbon to ship it a little bit closer, because you're shipping from 2 tiles as opposed to just 1. And water is fine, because you have a high tile there.
Ontario, going robot, picked up a high aluminium and 2 steel mills, didn't crush any of the silicon. Power is starting high.
Doesn't have any iron.
Doesn't have any iron.
It's going to be a problem.
Also,
I'm hoping that he can pull into HQ2 quickly enough. Without the iron. But if everyone in the world is a scavenger, that's going to be hard. Oh no, he made it.
I would have considered going power robot.
Absolutely. This is the power robot found here, possibly. The power robot meta is really interesting because it used to be that people ignored steel completely. So, like about a year and a half ago, people would say, "Yeah, power robot is good," but everyone went scavenger, so it can't possibly work.
All right.
But there's iron here, so you can. Nowadays, you
do it all.
Like the real power robot spot is the one that has both silicon and iron, so this is actually excellent for that purpose.
Water on the map is pretty awkward, so being a robot,
it's definitely a plus.
To be a robot. Vamp is clearly going for a slant drilling play again. I can't think of any other reason to pick up a medium water.
This is absolutely.
I don't see many other ways of doing much actually without slant drilling in her spot.
This is absolutely the play at the time when you plan for a patent lab and you plan for getting slant drilling and have no choice.
Power on HQ level 2. I like that. I like that actually.
Bobson is in a bit of a trouble here. He went for scavenger. He only has 1 low carbon quarry without any adjacency. It's really problems. He also claimed 2 high water tiles to deny them to people. But the problem with that is you're not making any money and you're only making water cheap for everyone else. So Vampires at this point can move into farms easily and make good money even with water being underproduced heavily.
New land is available for auction.
Ontario is shipping quite a bit of iron. I don't know if I want to see these 2 high and medium tiles with shipment, as opposed to medium and low, which produce quite a bit less, but you don't really need that much more, and on top of that, they're actually within reach, so they're actually very easy to transition eventually.
So, Minimat saw that there was a shortage of iron. He's bought up 200 of.
And he was punished because
Ontario is already still sitting on a whole bunch of iron.
Yeah, it's good to be a scavenger, but you have to watch out for stuff, especially if it's an iron or steel shortage. So as Bobson, the thing you do in this situation, I think, is well, he got through, but what you have to do is, what you have to do now is to claim 2 more carbon tiles with adjacency, because it's unlikely that the other 2 scavengers are going to feed you quite this much carbon. They're going to support you for a while, but yeah, what he should have been doing was buying into glass instead of sitting on 8,000 in cash. because glasses, as you can see, people are buying in. It's rising in price steadily,
Mm.
and Minimat is ahead of
Also,
everybody else. By the way, with 2 geothermals.
don't know if I like the third greenhouse farm from Bobson, just because so many other people are producing it and reactors are looking nice.
A scavenger HQ has been upgraded.
Such power money. Wow.
Yeah,
Still, Vamp is up to HQ4 and
I would know
has
that.
not got a pattern lab. Minimap does have a pattern lab.
Well, the question is
In
what
fact, has a
he's doing with it.
The patent lab is constructed.
He's not protecting
Let's
it.
get
That's what
our
he's doing.
science on.
And so far, doing nothing with it.
Mm. Patent lab is difficult because it's a chem colony, so chems are going to. He's actually going for thinking machines. In his position, that makes the most sense because he's the only one with reasonable water.
Off-world. Off-worlds are nice. It's Sol 3 and
Oh, yeah,
Oxygen's already at 490.
it's going to be a big deal.
The black
It's going to
market
become a little
is
bit difficult as glass goes down, and because glass needs to go down,
Progress.
so oxygen will rise in price, but it's still going to be excellent, I think.
So people often do this, and I'm not quite sure why. Pattern labs,
Bidding begins.
yes, they get a speed bonus, but I feel like if you only want one pattern and you want it definitely, building it next to your base will actually get it faster.
Absolutely.
Because the travel time, yeah, if you're getting more than one, maybe it'll balance out. But then you've got a tile that's not useful for very much at all.
There's hope that maybe if the colony grows enough, the machine shops are going to move in that direction, but that's hoping. I generally disagree with this play pretty strongly. The one benefit of it is that if you want to do multiple patents, which he does, interesting that he's actually blocking the machine shops now to make them grow in that direction. But he's also getting an engineering lab and that sort of optimization center, and I don't know if you will need to, especially.
A very fast HQ5.
Um, well, yeah, that's a lot of carbon with Bobson keeping the price of carbon up. And you can see he actually moved into 3 tiles of carbon, which is usually overkill, but in this case, I think it's justified.
So
Maybe
Vampirus
not,
is
but
going to get slant drilling with like 6 seconds to spare off minimap.
yes, they both have it protected. Okay. So that's huge for because if Vampirus doesn't get slant drilling, it's GG. It's pretty much
It's GG.
minimat versus maybe Ontario. Ontario is still behind. Um, he's still a robot though. He's more vulnerable, but he has the bonus of
That was
not
a
needing
very nice
water too much.
freeze on his water as well, by the way. Water's
Oh yeah.
huge
Oh
at
yeah.
the moment.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I would consider gooning the water of this game. The Vampirus is going to crush water eventually, but she also needs to upgrade to skill level 5 first. And if you're going to spend all your money on cams for
Oh, that's
yeah,
cheeky.
so Bobson is doing the yeah, he's using mutinies to steal tiles that are just not very good. So if you're stealing tiles like that, unfortunately, all that this accomplishes is it disrupts your opponent's production. But you can see that the electrolysis reactor, without adjacency, is actually losing money, and you have to ship water all the way to it because, well, it's not going to use your opponent's water. You have to actually
Yeah.
provide the input resources. Glass is
He's
barely
done the
breaking
same
even.
on the he's done the same on the chem refinery
Yeah.
of Vampirus, and you can see the fuel flying out to it now.
Yeah. And the chem refinery is actually kind of good, but it's not worth the amount of money spent on the mutiny. It's slowing people, it's slowing you down essentially. So mutinies are best used for single tiles that of high value essentially. So like this pleasure dome would have been an excellent building to put a mutiny on. One of the geothermals would have been good if power was higher. Power isn't very high, so it's not really the case. This optimization center, I would love to steal it, but well, if cams weren't this high also. Um, Patent labs, obviously, but they're pretty obviously protected tiles, so there's an adrenaline boost in Minimats water if it's not stopped, and he has teleportation, so yeah, too late. He got the value out of it. Now this is a bit of a better mutiny by Bobson because it's not a secondary building, it's the primary resource. But unfortunately, it's still only $56 for silicon. It's just not worth enough to spend 10,000 on.
Yeah.
If you think about it, 120 seconds, it's 1 per second, that's 120 units of silicon. It's like 5,000. It's about, I don't know, 7,000. It's actually
I don't
lost
know if
money.
you don't know if you noticed, Vampirus
Black market is online.
destroyed the greenhouse farms and electrolysis reactors because water was so expensive, and has now just rebuilt them because there's not really much else you can put on those tiles.
Well, unfortunately, having water be cheap for everyone is a result of Minimat just getting a massive push through that boost.
Successful.
He basically single-handedly destroyed the price of water, and now he's building an off-world, which is, well, very logical. He's trading one advantage for another one.
Market is one of few such affordable
Yeah,
way
he's
to
running away with this game.
Bobson's territory is okay. Well, obviously the single electrolysis reactor is not very good, but chems are okay, food is okay. Unfortunately, none of this is going to win you the game. What you need to do at this point is try to push for advanced buildings. So I would love to see the electrolysis reactor replaced with an optimization center, for instance. Unfortunately, though, well, actually, I'd love to see an upgrade, but part of the reason why there is no upgrade is because one lone low carbon tile is not going to cut it for a scavenger, unfortunately.
It probably is now that Vampirus is making 9.5 carbon a second.
Yeah, carbon is low,
Sold it now.
but it's not a question of what it is now, it's a question of what it was, and you can see that Bobson is way behind. And now he's committing money to buying stock in Ontario, which I strongly disagree with. I actually strongly disagree with both stock purchase procedures that are happening. Both Ontario buying in the Vampirus and Bobson just can't afford to spend any money on stock purchase right now. You need to invest into advanced buildings, you need to get those off-rolls up, which are still good.
Ontario could be
they're
upgrading
slowly
right
getting
now,
better.
but instead is auto-paying debt.
Oh, that's just... Well, maybe he needed to pay it. I wasn't keeping track of how much in debt he was, but
Is only
you need to stop.
80,000 right now, and
Yeah.
I don't know if pay debt auto is what you want to do before your HQ5, and you certainly don't want to do it when you've got 3 bits of stock into someone who isn't the leader. Man, Vamp is not having a fun time right now.
Yeah, and
The water boost by Minimat is kind of one in the game.
yeah, he has fully defended himself. He has 2 optimization centers now. Excuse me, he has 3 optimization centers now, which just is overkill. I think that's overkill. You did not need that extra one.
off-world shipment.
I forget if it was maybe an auction or something. Could have been. He's actually transitioning his carbon into glass, which is an excellent move. He
Danger dangerous explosives.
He's basically relying on his off-worlds at this point because he doesn't have much else in terms of production.
His prices aren't amazing on world.
Also, he has virtual reality, right? Yes, and look at those two pleasure domes. Just look at them.
Yeah, it's uncontested.
He's got a bit of an awkward territory, but at the end of the day, he just has such a huge advantage that even though he's in D-debt, and he's only barely in D-debt at that, he is, if he repays like 10,000, he's probably going to be out of it.
You are
And then
correct. 7,000 technically.
Ontario actually commits the same mistake that we have seen in the previous game. So he's buying into the stock of someone else who he cannot take down. He does not have any advanced buildings, like whatsoever. So what is making you money? He has a fair amount of claims for a robot, I will say. He probably was pressing that purchase bribe claim button quite a bit. He's using boosts pretty well, but power surge is only 10,000 a piece. And he's basically lost the stock game entirely. So Minimat with his two off-walls that are still good and getting better by the second, slowly but surely. I just don't see what can stop him at this point. I really thought that with slant drilling, Vampirus is going to catch up to Minimat, but I think the upgrade beyond that just came a little bit slow. Perhaps maybe not getting some of the other bait, although she only got perpetual motion. Yeah, I feel like just Vampirus did not manage to hit that water market in time, and maybe those transitions they were a bit forced, but they were also a bit too awkward to work out. And at this point, well, I'd hate to call it GG, but it seems it's happening.
Yeah, did Bob sell? I thought he was bought all the way up.
No, I don't think he ever fought up completely. And I'm not sure he's keeping track of himself being actually in danger.
Yeah.
That sound is tricky. It's sometimes difficult to hear. Yeah, just straight up water play. And just all around good territory. So as I said, I would have prioritized this spot because you have nothing is too close, but you have access to everything except silicon, which apparently did not prove to be important enough of a resource this game, in spite of its awkwardness.
It's proving to be important only now.
Our methods continue to improve. The black market is online.
Yeah, there's not really much you can do against someone with two off-worlds when you don't have any other. Yeah, really lost out on the water game. Yeah, that's basically it. He Minimat had good access to everything but silicon.
Yeah, I don't think he was his position was dominant. I think it's just that a big deal was that no one froze his water when it was boosted.
Boosted, yeah.
I didn't actually check if they had the cooldowns up, but if only that had happened, I think it would have been, at the very least, a much closer game. Because I think that Ontario's territory was actually very good.
Yeah,
as a robot, it's
squish some of it, claim the rest, and claim the one other one, and unless someone gets slant drilling, there's that's a monopoly that you can hack. Power started good. You could have squashed and gone straight for
Yep.
power money.
I would consider the founding, even if not squishing, just generally closer to the iron, so we can build the medium-low adjacent to your HQ. And you'd be a little bit further away from aluminium, but again, it's only one tile that is shipping, as opposed to two tiles of high-end medium that are shipping, which is the same thing with minimats found. I would have considered founding a bit closer to carbon, as opposed to squarely in the middle of all the resources.
I
And
see a
also,
lot of blob. What's it called? Robotic people. Just so many tiles around the base, free for freezing.
yeah, no EMPs though, so little power surges are still excellent, but yeah, I guess, well, if you look at the black market prices, and also you were complaining about lack of a quick win, well, there you go. There's a quick win.
There is a quick one. Also, Filthy Pirates unpurchased.
This game definitely a mistake. Water was a big deal. But again, it was only a big deal for a while, because then the boost came off and then it died off completely. But that, by the way, puts Minimat in the lead, together with Pablos, who apparently had an even quicker win. Sol
lord.
16. Oh. That's very hard
That
to
is
contest.
quick.
And apparently, yeah, and round Group A apparently started much sooner, so they're actually also down, even though they had a very slow game. So I think we're going to move over to the final round.
Excellent. I'm going to have to leave.